Green, remember they blind banded both Draconis and Moon Queen last game. I kind of wonder if we're going to maybe see a similar thing here, but making a point that they do not want to see Nox play either one of those here for Q Squad. So
I'm guessing Wild Soul and Moon Queen here from SG. From QsQ, maybe something like Parasite plus Ophelia? I'm not quite sure. Those are my guesses. But I think the SG will switch up just a little bit because they are in the second position. And so Wild Soul Moon Queen is there for SG. Moon Queen Deadwood actually gets the blind band coming up from QsQ.
Damn, that is some respect right there.
I mean, it is respect in the sense that SG is one of the teams that, I want to say first, started picking up Deadwood once again. That being said, I think Deadwood just in general is just a really, really strong hero. And he said actually does ban both of those trees.
That's true. That's some lead strats right there. Hey, we made the point that SG got both those heroes last game, the tree strategy. You were talking about how we've seen that in the past. Maybe we're catching on to something here. So Q Squad doesn't want to have to deal with either one. Into the locking phase we go, though, as always. Ophelia is... No, actually, Draconis was the first lock coming out from Q Squad, but then Ophelia Fade happening. And then look at that, Dark Lady Puppet Master to follow from Q Squad. So, really putting multiple carry options in there. And two is, Dark Lady, she's great, of course. We haven't seen her a lot lately. And then there's Puppet Master, where we really don't see anymore. But then Tempest is actually the final lock. But yeah, Q Squad liking to lock up them carries here.
Yeah, absolutely. And they basically locked up two carries that can do well as a solo laner in the short lane. Like Dark Lady can do just fine. Not as good as a Draconis though can. Mm-hmm. With the lock coming out from SG of Ophelia, I would expect a Glacius to be banned here if they decide to pick Ophelia. One thing that just hit me though is that Ophelia is actually, I really feel 10 times easier to run in an aggressive pseudo tri-lane on Hellborn than he is on Legion. Simply for the fact that it's much easier to access the Legion jungle as a Hellborn team aggressively. Like, there's more ways to get in there and not worry about getting, boxed out or flanked from the team early on. Like, if you're Legion and you're Ophelia trying to gain control of the enemy jungle, it's a little bit more difficult. Like, walking up that main ramp up at the top rune, you have very little vision, and just like you're very susceptible to ganks on both the left and the right side. Yeah. And then walking up the main way through the lane, even then, there's heroes that just sit there on the Hellborn team in the fog and can prevent you from getting into the jungle. So now that I think about it, Ophelia, I feel like is much easier to run an aggressive tri-lane on a Legion team. That being said, I think QsQ, if they're looking at a first pick coming out from the lock pick, I think Tempest has some value there.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, yeah, that's definitely kind of cool to hear that you're right though when you do think about it. And obviously once we get in the game, maybe we can look at that a little bit more, but not having the actual map behind of us or in front of us, not the easiest to explain. But definitely get what you're saying though.
To go more off on that too is I feel like you can go a step further and say it's easier to suicide on Hellborn too, because the area is so damn open on that Legion spot right above that tier 1 tower that it's very difficult to like be sneaky as a support. And like run up on them in a sneaky fashion. But if you're suiciding on the Legion team, there's all those nooks and crannies between all those trees that the support can stay. Yeah. You can argue too that it's easier to just sit inside the trees as like Bubbles or Hag, but so many matchups now are 1v1s that you don't really need to do that.
Yeah. Well, the banning phase moving along here. Master of Arms, the first ban coming up from Nova. So again, speaking of some respect here. Don't want to have to deal with that Slick's Master of Arms. You got Plague Rider, Pebbles, Zephyr, Aluna, and Parasite to actually finish things off. So Q Squad, Nova is right-clicking the Engineer. And sure enough, the Snap Pick Engineer coming out here from Nova. Saw that and will gladly take that with their first pick. So now back, of course, over to Stay Green on the other hand. We'll see what kind of route they go. So you're talking about, the possibilities in there. Obviously a very jungle or a very carry heavy with also the good jungle options too. So with keeping that in mind, we'll see where Stay Green decides to go here. Getting their support themselves. I know they left around out here like Torturer comes to mind. So maybe, but...
Yeah, actually, I wouldn't be surprised at all now with the Engineer pick too. Like QsQ first picks Fade out of the lock pick pool. You have two junglers to work with. Both will be fine. You have two solo laners that will both be fine, beating TDL and Draconis. So Glacius picked up from SG. That might be a preventative measure for Ophelia, but it's also just a great support hero in general. Also with Aluna being banned and Engineer being picked, seems like the obvious choice. Bubbles Torture coming out from QsQ. So Yeah, interesting stuff here.
Yeah, so Torture on the other side here. I was maybe saying for Stay Green, but coming out for Q Squad. Magnus is going to be the final pick here for Stay Green. Again, Magnus kind of hero that it seems like, especially with the Hammer Storm really stepping up, Magnus is kind of, his limelight has kind of faded a little bit, but by all means still very powerful in the competitive scene. Fade is going to be the first pick. Interesting. Coming out from Q Squad. So yeah, you called that, Trelf. The Fade first pick.
Yeah, it seems obvious, and there was no other like laning initiator there. Like if you saw Fade Pebbles, then you wouldn't really have to take either one of them right away. But this is going to solidify their lanes. I guess they could do a Torture Engineer lane mid, but that's kind of awkward. It's still quite strong, but they're both kind of skill shot stuns in that sense. But Fade can set it up much easier. Now Torture is going to be soloing bottom, Bubbles will be top, and then they'll just pick one of the two junglers that's left.
Are you so sure on that? Are you certain that they're not going to go either Draconis or Dark Lady here? Maybe run a tri-lane?
I guess they could. It would have to be like a support. I think it would have to be a support Fade, which I guess I've seen them do in the past, but I think it's just a much safer route to pick a jungler here, especially when you have such other strong lanes set up. Like Engineer Fade mid, if that's what they decide to do, is very, very strong. So I'm expecting Ophelia here from SG. I think they're going to want to man up here and do something like that. Although I've actually been seeing them run a lot of Suicide Magnus lately. Like I could easily see them just suiciding Magnus, going solo mid Hag, and then doing some kind of pseudo tri-lane top. But their lanes are a little bit more masked in that sense. Like you don't know exactly what they're going to do just yet.
It is okay. Dark Lady, yeah.
Tri-lane then. Or perhaps two dual lanes.
Yeah.
Like Fade, you could do, that's probably the more likely scenario of Torture Dark Lady bottom, Engineer Fade mid.
You see, the synergy over there on Stay Green. That was a pretty good team ready up over there. But yeah, so Dark Lady, sure enough, is the final pick coming out from Q Squad, and you can tell also with the way Stay Green, they spent a lot of time with their final pick and ended up going with Draconis. Maybe figuring that was going to be the case as well. So, and of course, the fact that they got Draconis themselves, very good. But Dark Lady, by all means, very strong hero, of course, too. So, how Q Squad ultimately lanes it themselves is definitely where I'm curious. So, I am leaning more towards the kind of that 1-2-2 setup that you're talking about. But we'll see. We'll see what they ultimately do. Dark Lady is heading bottom, of course. You do got a couple players going top. Torture leading the way up there as this Bubble's following. But look at Stay Green. All 5 of them are also headed towards that top lane. So,
yeah, and I think they're going to get there first. It's much easier to get to that ward pole spot as Hellborn if you're really fast. I mean, Nova literally... Okay, yeah, he's not going to go up there right away. He literally bought those items and rushed up there the second the game started. Like, he was really, really fast. But just because of the placement of where things are for the Hellborn side, it's much easier to get there beforehand. So.
Yeah. Q Squad actually grew up themselves now all of a sudden. They're also making a little bit of a interesting path here. So, are we maybe going to see some initiation going on? The water site was placed by Stay Green. I don't believe it would have seen anybody at that point. You do got Fade kind of leading the way, going near the statue here. Wretched Hag. She might be the vulnerable one. Granted, she will have that blink. Hag gonna run right by. There's the Burning Shadows. Here's that chain reactions to follow. The Kex on top of that. And yes, Bloodlust kill coming out in favor of Q Squad right there. And that had to just completely surprise Stay Green.
Yeah, well, a couple things about that. One, Wretched Hag took forever to blink away first. Like, I saw it. I was like, oh, he's going to run into Fade. Fade's going to have to be fast. And it's a little bit more difficult for Fade to have the faster reactions because he doesn't know what he's going to see. But Wretched Hag, all you have to do is just blink away. So it's kind of a late blink from Wretched Hag, but really good job from QsQ by stacking their stuns perfectly. Like, when you get into the heat of the moment like that, sometimes you don't plan it. And everyone just kind of casts their spells because they don't know. But they staggered them perfectly. So good job by QsQ. Specifically Male, because he's the one that really has to wait right there with the keg stun, and he did. So, so good job there.
Yeah, that's actually, that's one of those cases where you maybe think Q Squad, they had the plan in their mind the whole time. They were saying, if we happen to find somebody, Fade first, Torturer second, then Engineer third, and then hopefully we have the kill by then. So, just setting up that communication there for the kill. Meanwhile, speaking of that, Magnus in the middle lane going to take some initiation here. So Melons, he's actually going to hold his ground, though, and actually Fade's the one that needs to be a little bit careful. You see Glacius running up the hill, and Fade will end up falling right here. So Style going down. Now, it may result in a Magnus kill. Yes, it will, as Mally does a pretty good job of landing his keg stun right there. But Stay Green making a point that they're not going to let this Fade Engineer combo necessarily run all over them.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good man up there by Swindle Melons, and He was simply able to do that because he has the shield there. If you see a lot of different Magnus players change up what they build in their level 1 laning phase, and like for instance B-Kid, he never gets a shield. I always see him go for Hatchet and then just lots of regen on top of that. But in that instance, Magnus would not have been able to man up. Swindle Melons in this case was mitigating a lot of auto attack damage, so he was actually able to man up.
Yeah. So again, the middle lane though, that's where you expect a lot of the action happen, as it already has. I mean, we are already looking at a 2-to-1 game, of course, especially on top of the Bloodlust kill. Now, a big thing to note, too, is that the Bloodlust kill did go in favor of Bubbles here at the top lane, who was playing that kind of suicide role against Draconis. And obviously, we didn't really see an aggressive pseudo-trial lane by any means with Ophelia. She is in her own jungle. But Bubbles is going to have, in fact, I believe he has a bottle coming here. Yeah, he is going to go a side lane bottle here, maybe because of that Bloodlust kill. 2-minute rune is going to spawn nice kicks on the Glacius there, but Engineer realizing very quickly with Magnus coming over, not going to be able to get it. Wretched Hag will protect the double damage rune bottom, however, and she will pick that up. Burning Shadows connecting on to Magnus. He was kind of in an awkward spot himself. Fade, though, the one that may need to be careful once again. Are they going to look to initiate on to Engineer? No, they're not. A big split up right here. Both teams uncertain of exactly what to do, and even Torture not joining the party, as well as that double damage Hag. So it could get scary here. Burning Shadows on a Glacius. Start to chain reactions. The turret going to come in as well. Glacius may fall right here, but now Fade's in a lot of trouble as well. They die basically at the same time, and now Torture and Engineer need to be careful to fall back themselves. We are having a pretty aggressive game to start here.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch, and the only thing I will say about this is, meantime, you have a Suicide Bubbles that's getting actually very good farm. And the Suicide, even though Hag is doing what she has to, like she can't lane here bottom at least right now, but she's not getting anything. So that's why you actually see the numbers reflect being in favor for QsQ. And I was going to mention one other thing. Oh, the turret was leveled up to level 2 by Male, and it was like spot on the Glacius. Did so much damage. So yeah, well played on both sides though. Lots of aggression come out early on. 3 kills to 2, and so 5 kills in total in just 3 minutes.
Yeah, you love to see that. But I want to go back to this Bubbles here again. The fact that he got that Bloodlust kill, a nice boost in gold early on, but I mean, look at the presence he's actually having here against Draconis. You see his build, he's got the Tuna Shell Servant Song in the Sea. He's making it very clear that, you know, he has his burst potential, especially with that bottle pickup, too. He's not afraid to use those abilities pretty liberally here.
Right.
In fact, now the Ring of the Teacher also delivered. So Draconis actually might have a tougher time than he would have hoped for, despite being in that Draconis versus Bubbles matchup.
Well, even if he didn't get the blood loss on Bubbles, I know a lot of people think that this lane, or pretty much any lane against Bubbles, if you're, oh, I'm solo short Hag, or I'm solo short Silhouette against Bubbles, or Draconis against Bubbles, it's going to be a blowout. It's not. It really isn't a blowout. Like, Bubbles can actually still do fine in these lanes because his spells do a lot of damage, and he has 2 spells that do a lot of damage. Not to mention, on top of that, one of his spells is an escape mechanism. Bubbles, unfortunately, missing his Shell Surf right there on Draconis, though, as he pops the health potion, so Bubbles going to fall a little bit low on mana right now. Pops that bottle charge, has 1 left.
Ophelia was running over, but there's 2 problems with this. 1, there's a warded side here, of course, so Bubbles saw that. But 2 is that he had a Vagabond leader with no mana and half-life. So it's like, really, are you really going to do a whole lot there? Probably not. So in the end, kind of just goes back to farming. He actually takes over a Vulture Lord here. And it's just going to continue to farm. But yeah, Ophelia playing very passive in that sense. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, we do have some action. Fade's going to be jumped out right here. They're trying to counter on Magnus. Torture comes in. Magnus may fall, but Fade will go down. Magnus hides in the Steam Bath, though, and he will survive. How about that? Kazu on this Wretched Hag once again coming to the middle lane. And, well, again, able to assist it with the kill. On to Fade, who is now 0-3-3. So Fade is having an awkward start, to say the least. She's not, I mean, the fact that she has those 3 assists and some okay creep, she is actually dominating Magnus and creep farm when you look at it, but the 3 deaths are slowing her down quite a bit at the same time. So kind of a tri-lane mid here.
Yeah, we got a tri-lane mid versus tri-lane mid, essentially. But the thing is Slicks is getting not that great a farm against the Suicide Bubbles, and Dark Lady just completely free farming.
Oh, yeah.
Like, has a completely open lane, 37 and 18 right now for Nox. And I feel like that's going to be the deal breaker here. And honestly, Ophelia hasn't been able to set up any ganks. She's choosing to do the more farming route. And I believe, was there a Tempest actually locked up here? Yeah, there was. And you got to think, too, if you're going to go for a passive Ophelia, or a passive jungler, I should say, why not get the Tempest? I feel like Tempest would just have much more of an impact. Now, Chessie plays a great Ophelia, and again, he still thinks that you can out-farm on Ophelia than in the other jungle, and I still disagree with that. But he's going to try to set something up here, but again, he's not getting the spawns he wants. So, and even then, if he is, it's very, very difficult to kill a Suicide Bubbles, who has had the start that he has.
Well, and again, there was a warded side here. Now, it did just despawn, so now Bubbles will be somewhat blind. There was a warded side placed by Chessie in the lane, as you can see. kind of getting this division. But how about this? Engineer running right past. You see a Vulture or Tornado going to be coming out, and Male's like, okay, that's kind of weird. Bubbles, though, he's level 6. And actually, Ophelia's the one that I feel that should be a little bit careful here. If they wanted to maybe go on this Ophelia with Bubbles and Engineer, they could definitely do so. Meanwhile, in the jungle, Wretched Hag, all the Dark Blades are going to not connect right there. I thought they may have barely, but able to get away. Thunder Blast hitting Torture right there as he's doing some jungle, some stacks there, as you can see, but he'll get away as a regen rune will be gladly bottled up by Glacius and given back to Magmus. So some action in several spots here on the map. Now, speaking of that, Magmus taking a lot of pressure from Fade right there. So yeah, Fade, despite those 3 deaths on Fade, he is actually doing a very good job in creep farm here in the middle lane against this Magnus.
Yeah, yeah, he is. I mean, he is definitely farming very, very well. And I think that just goes back to, I've said this before, but, well, that was very interesting.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I did. It didn't take up
the hell?
regen. Huh.
I literally caught the very, very end of that.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Is that a bug? We just find a bug?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, did he pop the regen like the second after the stun hit?
I saw the same thing you saw. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what I saw though. It's the best way to put it.
Yeah, very interesting.
Anyways.
But we are literally seeing a straight up roaming hag. Like,
yeah,
he's completely conceded the bottom lane, and this is the thing. It scares me because you're letting a Dark Lady of all heroes free farm. This isn't like, oh, actually, speaking of Wretched Hag, in a lot of trouble right now. The keg's done to hit. The turret does so much damage on top of the coal coming out from Fade, and Keizu dies again. And so this is not good. And like, this isn't one of your cases of like, oh, this is a Torture plus Glacius lane bottom, and I can't do anything. I mean, yeah, you can't do anything, but this is a Dark Lady, like one of the hardest carries in the entire game. So completely giving her an open lane is very, very scary.
Yeah, meanwhile, Bubbles at the top lane. Chessie does come in for the gank attempt. The Minotaur started just a little bit too early, though. Didn't hit, and Bubbles was easily able to escape. Magnus in the middle lane. The Fade Burning Shadow Stun couldn't connect over there after the Lava Surge. In comes Glacius. Chain Reaction's missing, unfortunately. And actually, Swindlemelons will live as a result of that. Barely getting away. Zefig also placing a warded sight down right there. In front of them, but the aggressive play, keeping up here in the middle, you talked about what's essentially kind of a roaming Wretched Hag, so it really is, in a sense, a try versus try mid lane here.
Yeah.
It's kind of been, but Stoke continues to favor Q Squad big time because of that Dark Lady free farm, as you keep going back to. And Bubbles, again, a 3-man gank up top here, and he's able to avoid, and actually Draconis is porting bottom, so it's almost as if State Green's saying, we want Hag to get some farm here now.
Well,
but,
the Ancients.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so yeah, triple stack Ancients. He is only level 7, so he will definitely need some help here. But
yeah, Magnus is coming in actually with the stun, so that's a great way to kind of bounce back in the game. Like, Draconis still wasn't even farming that well. In fact, his farm is literally neck and neck with Bubbles at this point, but they need to free up some kind of lane for this Hag because she's getting absolutely nothing. Much different than the last game where we saw Keizu getting actually quite a lot in the suicide lane, but this lane it's a little bit different.
Yeah, his farm, as expected after this, I mean, it is jumping up quite a bit. Again, Glacius and Magnus, of course, here for the assistance, really letting Draconis get all the kills, I believe. And just like that, he does jump up to about 320 gold per minute, actually. So, triple stack Ancients, no doubt doing work. Fade, though, is level 6. She was just roaming around right there, but I believe she actually canceled her ultimate before it wore off. Or no, actually, I guess it wore off. Never mind. It is fairly short. But she'll go back to the middle lane, not getting any kills just yet, and continue to farm. But you look at Dark Lady, what is she sitting on? She's got her Ghost Marchers, Ring of the Teacher, and Mana 2 picked up. So she has her Life 2, most likely going to be purchased here shortly. And well on her way to that Rune Cleaver, as S2 Games so poorly called it. Fade in the meantime in the middle lane. He's going to be jumped on right here. The keg's not going to miss, unfortunately. The turret coming out. Can Fade survive? The bottle charges actually might be enough. Lava Surge up in 2 seconds. The Burning Shot's only hitting Magnus, but that could be the difference maker. Ophelia heal coming out right there as well for the Helper team. In the meantime, at the top lane, they were going for the kill on the Bubbles. Yes, they get the kill, and actually they also get the kill onto Fade. So Wretched Hag barely surviving up here, but 2 kills coming out for Stay Green there.
That was really, really sloppy movement by Style in mid. There was no reason to kind of initiate. I was like, he initiated onto Magnus right there. I was thinking, okay, where's the Tort? Like, they must have the Tort nearby. Nope, no Tort was in sight. So that was very, very silly of him to do that onto a Magnus that has the shield, has an upgraded power supply. Actually, he's deceptive. He's actually pretty tanky for this stage of the game, despite him dying once already.
Yeah, and so he's doing his best to kind of recover in a sense in his farm. I mean, he's 2-1-2. That's obviously up in big time but only still farming around 220 gold per minute. You do have Ophelia, who has insisted in playing more of a passive game. Granted, might be in trouble right here. Fade's going to open. Does he have support nearby? Yes, he does. Bubbles coming to the Shell Surf. And there's the Song of the Sea. And to add insult to injury, gets several of the creeps stolen, as well as his own creeps. And so Chessie will now have to wait for the respawn. So his farm continuing to fall back a little bit after that death. And good aggressive play coming up for QsQ. And again, you just keep going back to, while this is all happening, Nox down here on Dark Lady is just having a field day. Getting zero distractions and just continuing to free farm.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes you almost wonder if they would have laned it more aggressively, honestly. If you laned it more aggressively, there's no Glacius on the enemy team, or on QsQ, so I feel like you could have perhaps done an aggressive tri-lane.
Yeah.
And secure that lane bottom, and then they pressured an early tower. Or even then, if you did an aggressive tri-lane top and just completely boxed out Bubbles, it's not like it's a Plague Rider where you have a deny to work with. Like, you get lane control, Bubbles won't be able to do anything. And I feel like you could have pushed the tower very early on with Ophelia. They have not yet to do that. In fact, the tower is only a little above at half HP up in the top one, or the top tier 1. So, yeah, I feel like they have a lineup that's prone to be more aggressive here for SC, but they're not utilizing their heroes to do so.
Yeah, it's definitely a case of maybe they were expecting more success in the middle lane with that Mag Glacius combo. Now, speaking of Mag, he is up here against Bubbles, who's level 9, though. And again, speaking of deceptively tanky, he's got Steam Boots on Strength, he's got Mystic Vestments. This is a Bubbles that it has actually plenty of survivability early on. Now, Ophelia's going to come over, so we'll see if they can be patient. Now, he might go for a port out here. And that will be canceled if so. Nobody's going to... Actually, great combo there from Jonas of Van. Very good heads up. And he'll pour it out. And, of course, what I'm talking about, he's Songs of the Seas just before he Shell Surf, just in case. And guess what? It paid off.
I don't know if they had a vision or knew that... vision of the rune, at least when it was taken by Magnus. But he clearly knew something was up. Like, you don't just do that just randomly.
Yeah.
So he must have known that there was an Invis Magnus, but great play nonetheless. Dark Lady absolutely annihilates Z-Freak right there with help of
well, that was Fade, actually, more so, but then actually Nox came in the last second with the what is that called? The Charging Strikes, so... But,
yeah. And he's going to have his Rune Cleaver. He's already got all the components except for that last one. He's going to have that in less than 600 gold. Mm-hmm. So looking at a 14-minute Rune Cleaver, well, okay, yeah, 14, 15-minute Rune Cleaver coming out for Dark Lady with the Ghost Marchers and also the Ring of the Teacher. So this farm is just immense at this point.
Yeah, and well, that's of course ultimately the scariest thing. The fact that it's already so good, and just knowing that once that Rune Cleaver's picked up, you can just expect it. And look at the jungle with that said. I mean, there's 2 nearby camps that are actually triple stacked. The Ancients only a single stack right now, so nothing too crazy there. But they are setting it up as they should be here for QsQ to have her immediately go into the jungle and just really skyrocket with her farm as soon as she picks it up. So, yep.
Oh, I was going to say, not to mention, too, that Dark Lady is, in my opinion, one of the hardest carries in the game. But on top of that, she's extremely good specifically against Magnus and Hag with the Dark Blades. Because they can't use any of their spells. You can't use the Steam Bath to disjoint anything or get away. Hag can't use the Flash ability to blink away. Mm-hmm. So, that being said, she's also very, very good. There's the Rune Cleaver. It's going to be delivered. And yeah, like you said, the stacks are ready to go.
Yeah, now this could be good timing on the part of Stay Green. No, they're going to fall. I was going to say, maybe if they can actually catch Dark Lady here as soon as she gets that Rune Cleaver and get her killed. But no, with Fade and Torture coming down here, and they're actually falling back on Stay Green's side. So yeah, this will be a really enhanced farm now for Dark Lady. The Broadsword's being delivered, and the Rune Cleaver officially complete. Top lane, top tower will go down. Reginak trying to deny it, but at what cost right here? Keizu looks like, oh, the Shell Surf port. And now, did the Shell Surf hit him twice? Is that even possible?
No.
Okay.
He hit him once, and then the blink from Hag came out and popped the kelp field.
Okay.
So that damage hit him.
I was going to say, that's not possible, is it, to take Shell Surf damage twice? Because that would be pretty absurd.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah. But anyway, nonetheless gets picked up on top of the tower kill. And again, now you have a Dark Lady as here she goes to the jungle. But look at what Stay Green's doing, actually. They're trying to be a little bit crafty here. They got Ophelia. They're going to tank some Congor. Now, it's going to be a slow Congor attempt, but I don't know if QsQ will notice this. So,
yeah, and SG does this a lot when they have Ophelia, because they realize that you can actually kill Congor relatively easy early on if you have the means to do so. And with Ophelia, see, he's actually using 2 of the melee creeps to sit in front. Doesn't want to use... It's just using the tornado effect, because if you use 3, it's going to cause Congor to stomp, and they don't want that. So it probably will be successful, as QsQ doesn't have any vision around here.
Yeah. I do see, look at the chat real quickly. Dangerous Dan actually is in chat. He was like, wait a second, Regen wasn't canceled? So I wonder if he's going to be on that. Magnus will get picked up here in the middle lane, but in the meantime, but obviously you're talking about the Burning Shadows earlier that we kind of saw. But anyways, Congor is going to fall. I mean, you're right. Stingray does seem to do this with that Ophelia, and it is going to be accomplished. You got a level 11 Draconis all of a sudden, who now has that token of life, and is going to very likely clean up these triple stack Ancients, depending on what the Legion team does here. But look at Dark Lady, 500 gold per minute, and just like that, Abyssal Skull is already going to be picked up. We're going to see if it's a pause here coming out from the Legion side, as there could be some bottom action, actually. Torture needs to be a little bit careful. Granted, Bubbles is nearby. But Draconis, you know, Slicks on Draconis, you can't forget about him either. I mean, his farm has actually risen quite a bit, too. And is now at 368 with a triple stack Ancients ready to go. But
I still compare that to the Suicide Bubbles that he was one-on-oneing up in the top lane. It's really neck and neck with him.
True.
Like 345 gold per minute himself on Jonathan Fan. Has some good build-up out of some Bubbles, and is going to have that portal key and 500 gold. So
yeah,
it's good. And you have the token of life up on Draconis, and that's great. But I really do feel like late game carry versus carry, Dark Lady just wins against Draconis. So one of the things that they're going to have to prioritize on this Hellborn team, specifically from Chessie, is a Storm Spirit. They're really going to need a Storm Spirit to help out that Draconis. Because, you know, when you come to late game, it's going to start to be initiate, kill Draconis, and then we basically win the fight. Well, if you can mitigate that and pop them up in the air with a Storm Spirit, then you can actually, you know, salvage that team fight a little bit.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if Stay Green, and of course that is an item that they love. We'll definitely go for that here. So we're only 16.5 minutes in. It really feels like we are actually later, but it's an 8-5 hero kill advantage right now in favor of QsQ, as apparently they are ready to go. Real quick, I do apologize. Obviously, with this whole Ghetto setup, I kind of forgot that we don't have the graphics to show like what game this is and everything. So just to recap on that, this is game number 2 here in the losers bracket round 4 for the Diamond Division. We got Stay Green is actually up 1-0 over QsQ in game number 2. But anyways, bottom lane, Draconis in a little bit of trouble right here. Remember, he has a token of life, and actually Torture going to be frozen right there. Glacius was here. That Kelfield used very defensively. Draconis nearly dying from it, actually, as he took the stun from it, but he'll barely survive. And in the end, neither side really losing anything right there. So Draconis nearly lost the token, but he too stays alive.
He stays alive. I think they baited out a Russian high TP too, and that's 4 heroes that are sitting down here for SG. So if they're not able to capitalize or get anything done, then that's not too good for them. As you see the gold just continually to skyrocket now in general for QsQ, because that Dark Lady has that Rune Cleaver. Already Abyssal Skull right on top of that, now looking to get a Firebrand soon. They actually spot out the triple stack Ancients Bubbles using the Shell Surf, so they have a good idea about what SG is doing. And it would be a very, very smart idea. I'm pretty sure Nova is already saying this in his mind, to start warding those Ancients.
Well, you do see them get taken out pretty quickly. There's a revelation here, so I kind of wonder if that is anticipating maybe a ward aside, or if that was simply for Fade, perhaps. But
yeah.
Speaking of Fade, she actually does get her portal key. She just purchased that. So Style, yeah, again, despite those 3 deaths early on, now 4 in total, he actually still managed a pretty solid farming game. And he's got his pretty good core items since he's just about level 11 as well. And then there's a portal key actually on Bubbles, too.
Yeah, it's really good. Now, this is one of the things that we see some action in mid, actually. Fade initiates on there to Z-Freak, and he does get killed very, very easily, actually. And Sham says Honey Matter doesn't care. I swear, I gotta turn on. You probably can't hear it, but man, this Thai announcer pack is just.
Well, no, I heard it right there. Because some of the players have it, so when they make plays, I think Style has it, so when he got the kill, it was like...
I'm just going to turn down my game sounds in general.
Middle lane, a lot of action coming up. Fade's going to be initiated right here. A big bat blast coming up from KSU. Fade will fall. Torture going down. Engineer, a great energy field. Ophelia Hill, though, coming out. Dark Lady joining the party. She is level 14, as actually QsQ going to vote to pause here, so clearly something is up. But I was thinking like Dark Lady was maybe going to go in right there. Apparently they are getting some disconnect issues, so that is unfortunate. I kind of wonder a little bit maybe if that played a role there in that fight, but it's it actually seems like it's on Skype, not necessarily the game. So, anyways, a big fight coming out for State Green, and obviously 2-0 hero kill advantage for them right now. May keep the push on this tower as a result of this.
Yeah, and that was a really, really big fight for them, honestly. It actually closed the gap quite a bit, especially in the experience department. Still in favor of QsQ right now, but as I was mentioning, with Magnus, like we saw Swindle do this last game on Deadwood, where he got a lot of build-up items, and I think that's great. But I think it's a different scenario too, because Deadwood, as I mentioned, he can be an auto attacker. Like he can be a heavy hitter just with his auto attacks and kind of man up in these team fights. Where I feel like it's not is exactly the same for Magnus. I think he really does rely a lot more on the portal key in general. And this is your mid hero that you wanted to that you had the idea at least of prioritizing farm for, but he's going to have a very, very late portal key. I mean, think about when we see Magnus prioritized, like say in a safe lane or in a mid lane where you have like a 9-minute or 9-minute Steam Boots portal key or 10-minute Steam Boots portal key. It's very effective, and he's still being able to set up some good kills here. And he is quite tanky, but again, it's going to be a very, very late portal key.
Yeah, it obviously goes back to that term that we use a lot, that snowball term, where Magnus is definitely can work off of that, and we see a lot of teams, try to really stress that because of it. Beacon complexity. Swindle Mounds on Stake. I mean, they do this a lot on Stake Green for that matter. It's just this game not actually working out that well. So. Yeah, that's something to keep in mind here. Overall, it is a 5,600 gold lead, though, in favor of Q Squad still in a 2,000 experience league. Granted, they did just lose 2 heroes during the team fight. And once again, we'll see if Stay Green looks to push this. They do have a token alive for 4.5 minutes on Draconis, as he is actually getting pretty close to finishing that Nullstone of his. And, maybe I think I remember seeing it purchased, actually. Yeah, it is on the courier, actually. So Slicks does have the Nullstone finished. And that will be delivered to him shortly. Firebrand picked up on Dark Lady, obviously continuing to just skyrocket in her farm. It sits now up to 540.
Yeah.
But again, Draconis still climbing. I mean, I know you like to compare that to that Bubbles, who's definitely up there himself. But Draconis is definitely pulling ahead. But Dark Lady ain't slowing down just yet. So.
Yeah, SG's done a really good job about utilizing their Ancients every single time they can. And that's really where most of Slick's farm actually has come from. Now, the Nullstone is great for him, but again, it still doesn't really solve the problem of Dark Lady, at least right now. He's really going to need that Shrunken Head to get rid of the, or to deactivate the Silence from the Dark Blades. Until he gets that, Draconis is actually still prone to death pretty easily. But that being said, it's actually very effective that they have the Token of Life up onto him in a very, very timely Congor kill, just in general. So you can't, like in this fight, for instance, they could have initiated it a lot differently if Draconis did not have that Token of Life. But because he has that, it makes Dark Lady's decision-making a little bit different, and just the entire teams in general.
Yeah. You see Jonas a fan, unfortunately, timing out right there, so hopefully this isn't one of those let's pause for a while issues, but who knows. How's the weather in Miami? God, I'm sure it's fantastic, as it always is. How's the weather in Vancouver? Is it similar to Michigan?
No, it's much warmer, I believe.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's.
That'll be nice.
I think just in general, the West Coast is a little bit more mild than the East Coast.
That makes sense, yeah. Yes. That is one thing I'm jealous of what you're doing, Trev. Get to enjoy perhaps the better weather, at least for now. Well, while we are sitting in this pause here, and we actually do have a good amount of viewer base tuning in, I figure this is definitely once again kind of a good time. I know we did it at the beginning of the cast, but obviously we have had plenty more viewers tune in since then. So just to reiterate today, guys, I'm sure you've heard the announcement by now. Tralfamador, though, unfortunately, is going to be leaving HoN Cast. His official last cast will be tomorrow. But, in a sense, too, this is officially his last HoN Tour cast. But, with that said, he is still going to be remaining with the HoN scene. Going to be playing with One Trick Pony even this weekend for HoN Tour. So, I once again just want to give you the reins on this and just let you kind of explain your side of it and let everyone know what's going on with that. So,
yeah, sure. Well, again, gotta give congratulations to my girlfriend. She just got a job offered in Vancouver. So, I'll be moving out to Vancouver, BC, in Canada, and staying there. And that kind of prompted my decision of do I want to keep casting, or I have obviously always had a love for the competitive scene and playing in the competitive scene, and I think this was the initiation that I always go back to that word because I'm so used to using it.
Yeah.
To start maybe thinking about having a competitive team and competitive, just being in the competitive atmosphere once again as a player. So with that being said, I decided to play with OTP actually for HoN Tour, and we'll be playing with them this weekend. Mm-hmm. So I'm really looking forward to that. But again, it's been a very fun time in HoNcast in general, and I've learned a lot and met a lot of great people. It's just been a great experience to be alongside with S2 and watching the growth of HoN in general. It's
Yeah.
been really great.
It has been. I mean, again, I've been here now for, 18 months myself, something like 18, 19 months even, at S2 Games that is, and it's crazy. I mean, just over the time, just to see not only the competitive scene, but S2 as a company. I mean, when I first started here, maybe there was 35, 40 employees at the most, and now we're looking at 90 plus. I think we're getting close to 100 now. And of course, we just moved offices recently again that you know about, and we got those new offices that we're gonna be moving into as well shortly. So. It's pretty cool to see that, and at the very least, yeah, of course, it definitely did suck to hear that news, Trelf. We've been over this, but at the same time, it's gonna be fun seeing you play once again, as obviously you do have a strong history
again,
playing. So,
and again, if I ever make any mistakes, to explain to the community that it was just simply lag, and nothing more.
I'll be sure to just say it was lag.
In fact, if you forget, I'll go ahead and make sure to type it in all chat that it was indeed lag.
Call out your own mistakes and blame it on the lag.
Well, it's not a mistake if it's due to
True.
lag.
No, fair. Touche. No, but that is going to be fun. So I guess that will debut actually on Saturday, huh?
Yeah.
You guys are one trick pony against Trademark. Let's talk about an opponent to debut against, Ralph. I know you've been around the scene for a while, and you come from playing very competitive background, of course. But that's got to be. I mean, is there some pressure? Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Is there something there?
No, I don't really feel any pressure. I mean, TDM is a very, very strong team. Like, they are clearly the #1 team in the world right now. Mm-hmm. So I think the whole team is going to go into that not thinking. I mean, you always expect to win and you always want to win, but you also have to be real about who you're playing against, and you also have to respect the other team. Otherwise, it will pay off in a bad way. If you come against a team feeling very cocky and overconfident, I think that can backfire a lot, actually. Mm-hmm. So it's important to go against a team and realize, and respect them as a team. And I think that the other team will do the same. And I'm just looking forward, just in general, win or loss, I'm looking forward to just play again. So
yeah. No, it will be fun for you to play and to watch that again. So definitely looking forward to that. That'll be the Winners Bracket Finals, the second part of our Saturday cast. And I know a lot of people are also curious, where are we going from here on HoNcast? Well, obviously we are in the there's been the post that's put up. We are recruiting a new co-caster. We definitely have ideal candidates in mind already. But that's not to say, that it's not worth submitting, because we're definitely going to look and try to find that best fit once again to do our best at least to replace Trelf. It ain't going to be easy. But anyways, as you can see, we are now back in game number 2. The tower is going to be pushed here, coming out from State Green. Is it going to be killed is the question, and it looks like it should be. I don't think QsQ's too interested in necessarily defending it. He got Bubbles there, putting a little bit of harassment. Oh, and Jonasum fan will actually deny it. Big plays, I must say, coming out from Jonasum fan this game. He had the great escape earlier. He did very well in the suicide Bubbles lane, and making a big play deny right there. So,
yep, great deny by Jonasum fan, absolutely. And looking still at the overall golden experience, it is still definitely in favor of QsQ. And I think it's in favor of the team that, in my opinion, has the better late game. It's very, very comfortable for QsQ. As they're actually going to aggress here in the mid lane, Nox is rushing in with those Dark Blades and charging strikes and says, "You got the tower mid. I'm going to do this myself and take your own tier 1 tower." Fade's running in the meantime in the background. Yeah. Spots out Magnus, but doesn't have the means to kill him just yet by himself.
Yeah, Magnus, again, no portal you just stressed on before that pause was really happening just yet. In fact, actually, Draconis is going to get caught out here, but I don't think the damage follow-up is going to be enough, as Draconis will be able to walk away. Once again, Draconis still has that token alive, remember, for another 3 minutes here, and actually he just purchases a Mighty Blade. But you said it, though. Nox is like, I'm just going to walk up here, take out the middle tower myself, what you did as a team to ours, and I'm just going to continue to farm even more like a boss. 570 gold per minute now. It just does not slow down here for Nox, as Draconis is still a respectable 412 GPM himself. Nox maybe getting a little bit overzealous here. He's going to try to maybe take some double stack Ancients on the Hellborn side. In fact, double damage rune is going to be used. and he will just tear them up. Now here comes the initiation from the Helper team. Skulker King is going to catch him. Will they be able to support him in time? Bubbles in the background, a great Song of the Sea, as well as a Kelfin eventually going to be coming out. Dark Lady is dropping though. The charging strikes away. Is it going to be enough to ultimately get away is the big question. It looks like maybe Magma's Tunnin catches Torturer. Dark Lady will be fine, but Torturer will fall. Meanwhile in the background, you got Bubbles and now Fade joining the party. A perfect Burning Shadow stun. Ophelia is being locked down. Will he survive? It looks like he will actually. The port out front, Bubbles coming, hitting the cliff though. Energy field going to be used right there. We do see another death. Magma and Glacier is currently dead. Engineer barely going to fall right there as Wretched Hat comes through with the Bat Blast. And now Fade's actually the one on the run. Can he ultimately get away? No, he cannot. And that's 3 kills actually coming up for Draconis now in total. So pretty crazy fight right there. I think it's safe to say though, Stay Green coming out on top.
That was actually a missed Burning Shadow Stone there at the very end by Fade. I think he tried to get overzealous and hit 2, and could have actually saved himself by just getting the safe stun onto Draconis and died as a result. Gotta say too though, I don't know if you saw because you were looking at another portion of the fight too, because there was like 3 different things going on. But Fade, as she was running away, still had the double damage. Literally turned right around on a Magmus at the last second and killed him in just a matter of seconds with the double damage.
Oh,
so able to take him out from full to nothing in like 1.5 seconds. So really big plays there by Nox, still being able to man up. Yeah, it was in favor of SG, but they did get the kill on the Wretched Hag, I believe. And he did buy out, actually, I think, right there. In case he did buy out.
Wow, yeah, that's true. So, big thing to note, that fight.
He bought it right there, and again, it was still kind of an even trade, so to speak, but Nox didn't die, and he still got a kill on the Magnus, who still is 1,000 gold away, basically, from his portal key. Now, Slicks is farming like a beast, and he will have that Shrunken Head up very, very soon in about 1,000 gold. And that's going to be really, really good for him. And like I said, that's going to be when you can really start taking team fights, because Dark Lady won't be able to do as much to you once you have that Shrunken Head up.
Yeah, you made that point. With the Shrunken Head, you definitely not as vulnerable to those Dark Blades for obvious reasons. So that'll be big. I will say, though, Dark Lady has now surpassed the 600 gold per minute mark and just continues to go up and up. Frostburn has been finished, by the way, on Nox. So choosing to go the Frostburn route this game around, and actually going to push the secondary tower. Meanwhile, the bottom lane also going to push secondary tower. Fade is down here, but there is a Revelation nearby. He wouldn't dare open, and instead it's going to be a tower-for-tower exchange between the two teams. The Token of Life is going to wear off in 5 seconds, so State Green will no longer have that working for them. But Shrunken Head was just purchased, at least, by Draconis. It still needs to be delivered, but it looks like State Green is going to be comfortable with finally falling back, as this Q squad for now. So here we are. Again, only 23.5 minutes into the game, and seeing the items that, well, specifically Dark Lady has, and even Draconis for that matter, pretty crazy. Slicks is, or not Slicks, but Swinomelons is getting pretty close now to the portal key that he keeps stressing on for good reason. He has 2,000 gold saved up. He actually gets a couple of those kills taken from him. But he is very close to that portal key now, though, himself. And again, will be big for the Hellborn side. Frostburn pick up on Dark Lady. You like it?
Yeah, I think Frostburn it's pretty the standard pick up onto Dark Lady. It gives him that extra snare that he needs to really lock down someone. Until he has that, it's kind of like you can charge at someone. You have the slow from your Taint Soul, but after that, it's hard to kind of catch up to them. Yeah. So the Frostburn's a perfect remedy for that problem.
So, just continuing to farm away in the jungle once again. The 3,300 gold already saved up. Continue to just be impressed. But anyways, we'll move on from that. There are other heroes in this game, believe it or not, and farming fairly well themselves. Jonas and Fan continuing to do solid here on Bubbles. He has one of his 3 Arcanas, I'm sure, towards the Hellflower. There's the portal key purchase on Magnus. Tablet of Command finished on Mally here, by the way, playing this Engineer. So he has enough gold to get a Tablet, a Power Supply, Mystic Vestments, and even Striders on top of it all. So very good for him. And actually a Shaman's Headdress also. Just finished by Style here. So it looks like Style on Fade maybe going the Barrier Idol route. Kind of interesting seeing more of a big team support item there coming out from your Fade player. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's very interesting. But I think regardless, Barrier on somebody against, especially a team of this magnitude, the SG has, like, you still don't really have that much auto attack damage coming out from Draconis. It's something, but until he gets that Savage Mace, there's really all magical damage coming out from this Hellborn side. So a Barrier Idol would definitely be effective. Well,
it's apparently in the works. I mean, you really don't finish a Shaman's Headdress unless you have the intention of going for that Barrier Idol. So Chessie here in the meantime also playing this Ophelia, of course, for Stay Green. He's got the Plated Greaves, Astrolabe, and Ring of Sorcery amongst his items. Legion's side, we do got a little case of almost like complexity. Q Squad getting a little bit crafty here. Fade is nearby. Now are we going to open shortly? He's going to be spotted. Magnus will set him right there. Here comes Dark Lady, though. Glacius will melt immediately, as does Wretched Egg in the background. Dark Lady is doing so much, but so is Draconis. But Slicks realizing quickly, he's like, where the hell did my team go? Slicks is going to start falling, and he is going to be torn a new one. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what happens when you let a Dark Lady free farm.
Nearing 700 gold per minute right now. It's pretty insane how much damage he does. And Bound Eye was dropped right there. Unfortunately, wasn't taken. Oh no, it was taken actually. Jonas Fan picked it up, so good for him. And Dark Lady just wrecked havoc, man. Absolutely wrecked havoc. And I didn't see it, but yeah, Portal Key was picked up on Magnus, but no eruption was used, unfortunately.
Well, it was a case of Fade was actually thinking about initiating, but he did get spotted at the last second. I think they had that was the Bound Eye they were talking about. So Magnus actually just quickly stunned in on him first, so he never really had that timing to maybe go for the eruption in that just kind of the heat of the moment. But nonetheless, I mean, that was impressive seeing Nox's damage. I saw him jump onto Glacius, and I was like, oh yeah, Glacius is dead. But then all of a sudden, Wretched Egg also died, and I realized that was just a case of those Dark Blades and the splash damage that he has, and it really is insane. So obviously a one fight there, pretty big time for Q Squad. Now that's not to say this Hellborn team is out of it just yet. I mean, Draconis did prove that he could do plenty of damage himself, as you put it, even without that big damage item, such as the Savage Mace. So once he gets that will be something to be a little bit worried about. And then, of course, as you talked about Magnus, if he can get a good eruption off, by all means, State Green definitely still has their chances. But, ooh, Rift Shards. Wow.
Yeah, but you look at this. You also have a full Shaman's Headdress up on a Torture as well. Doesn't even have 800 HP, but still has a completed Shaman's Headdress. So I find that kind of funny that you build all that, but you don't really have that much HP. So still going to mitigate a lot of magic damage. But the thing that's kind of crappy, though, as far as the lineup that SG has, is this isn't really as squishy of a lineup as you had last time from QsQ. Like, they're really honestly not as squishy. Like, Engineer has some decent stats all around. Bubbles, yeah, he's squishy, but he's hard to get to because just the nature of the hero. And Dark Lady, it doesn't matter. She's so damn farmed. Over 700 gold per minute now. 720 just about.
Level 2 Rift Shards, I mean, she wants to fight right now, and State Green's like, no, not yet. We do not want to fight. Glacius is able to get away, as Fade did actually somewhat open onto him, but he does kind of get on out of there. So Draconis is actually going to port out here from the bottom lane. He realizes that there's no one really on the map. Yeah, those Shaman's Headdresses, though, I do find it kind of weird, too, and more so now with that Torture pickup, because, I mean, Torture getting a Barriata, even with his low life pool, again, that's fine, but maybe would have rather seen something like, oh, hold that thought, though. Fade a great initiation once again. Bubbles to follow. Eruption being shut on the background, but here comes Dark. The Ophelia will just drop right off the bat. We do see Wretched Egg able to get away. The Cataclysmic Assault is activated by Draconis, actually doing plenty of damage. Engineer falls, but now Draconis is falling, and again, Dark Lady to the charging strikes. Gets the kill. Magnus going to take the brunt of the damage, too. He will fall. Wretched Egg, a solid Bat Blast coming out, but she will need to fall back, as Draconis does buy back, by the way. So he is ready to go once again. That Cataclysmic Assault is coming off cooldown here, and they may try to chase this, but Torture, Fade are going to port out, and Dark Lady should be fine as well. So, again, Q Squad winning another fight there.
That was good calling out, too, with the Draconis buyout. They saw that right away, and they could have actually gone for more. But someone on the team was saying, Draconis buyout, and they backed up and just let him waste his gold. Because with a buyout, obviously, if you want to buy out and you want to make something happen, and he says GG's, they're calling it right now at the 29-minute mark. And with a 15k golden experience lead on the Dark Lady with 730 gold per minute, I don't really blame them.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it definitely is a case of, I do always find it a little bit amusing how games kind of end at moments like that, where it's like, there wasn't like sure there was kind of a fight right there, but there was still plenty of base left and everything. But, yeah, I can see where State Green's coming from. They let, simply put, Dark Lady get way too out of hand. I mean, we stressed it, you kept going back to it, and so it's not like we're looking at hindsight by any means. And sure enough, we saw the end result of Nox just getting 100% free farm. And so you do kind of question the laning phase, too, from State Green. You know, maybe if they should have gone for that pseudo-trial lane, change things up a bit. But nonetheless, we're going to a Game 3 trial.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be really exciting. Always Game 3 matches are most